to show this, flash it out really quickly, and I'll skip it in a short while. All right, but I'm sure my slides will be available later on to download, so you can read this, or you can take a snapshot if you want. Oh, and now they just recorded. Oops. All right, so you can take a snapshot of this. And let's just go into a little bit of how do I tie gamification and games elements. Yeah. So as you remember, just now I was talking about the 1950s. Willie Higginbottom came out with the first video game, and Steve Russell came out with the first computer games in the 1960s. In 1972, the first commercial game came out. Yeah. And that was Pong. Yeah. And people play games those days, right, when it first came out, it was a phenomenal hit. And they played Pong in order to, as a form of challenge or to achieve something. So why do people play video games and what motivates them to do so? Okay, remember I said this now, it's consistent and rewarding players. People like to win, people like to show off, and people like achievement. A lot of people tend to think the whole purpose of playing games, right, is to get your name on the high score. It's to achieve higher score and higher score and higher score. In a way, that's true. The first video games allowed you to do that. When you get your name in the high score, that's amazing. But not only that, people play games because it's fun. The first game, Pong, had a high score. If you follow on later, Space Invaders, Pac-Man also had high scores as well. But a lot of people don't notice the social elements. The social elements where they compare their high scores with someone else, or the fun of playing together and watching other people play, and the camaraderie that goes on. Right? So it's not about leaderboards and points alone. And this is a very important fact because gamification, a lot of people say that gamification is about leaderboards, points, badges. And if you focus only on that, you lose the important facts about why games are so important and so engaging. If you look at how games have evolved, if you look at the mobile section, this incredible growth, mobile gaming has allowed a lot of players to start to enter the game space. Yeah, games used to be predominantly for those who actually only have consoles or PCs, but mobile, because it's so widespread, it's so pervasive, it allowed a lot of people the ability to play as well. And mobile games, and as well as 5G and 4G and data and Wi-Fi and connectivity, has allowed more and more and more people to start playing games for that social aspect. MMORPGs, PUBG, Mobile Legends. Yeah, all these games require a sense of, it's not so much to get the best score, but it's to show off how good you are through your skins. When you buy skins, when you get some unique skins, or when you get a certain item and everything, or guilds and raids, yeah, when you play MMORPGs. So it's about all that. It's the social aspect of games which has evolved. So yeah, Pong was a sensation because for the first time, people could actually control what they saw on the TV. So the experience was very engrossing. Right? But Pong is really about victory and being a winner. Yeah, having fun and experiencing the social aspects of sports on the screen. All right. So for gamification to work, it must focus on the various aspects of video game mechanics. Remember, I told you cannot, if you're going to say that gamification is only about leaderboards and points, that's not right. I've seen gamification as well where they put in quest and RPG that you have, as long as you do certain things well in class, you progress in the RPG. But it's basically forcing a very linear narrative option down the throats of students. Remember what I said just now. People like autonomy, fun, choice. So how can gamification really embrace the aspect of play, of games? All right, very simple. Gamification needs to consider these things. Number one, play needs to be internally motivated and most importantly, fun. There has to be novelty and variety to keep things interesting, to keep life interesting, fun, and engaging. Video games allow you to have the opportunity to do something new, to explore. Your gamified classes should also do the same. Secondly, people play video games to get a sense of independence and a degree of control over in their lives. So the drive towards autonomy is why people instinctively dislike being manipulated. That's why we feel a desire to rebel against slavery. And a great part about online games and MMORPGs and all that is it allows us to be free and make our own choices. For those who do not feel that they have much independence in the physical world, where they are constrained in the physical world, video games are a great place to be, a great way to break free of that, of being jailed or being caught up, yeah, and to express their independence. People play due to an innate desire to feel or achieve a sense of growth and accomplishment, competency. Video games offer a safe place to improve your skills and get better at something. All right. Um, those games also allow beginners to get involved by giving them positive reinforcement for the little good things they have done. Yeah. For example, when you play MMORPGs, you could just basically kill a little spider. You could mine something, and you get rewarded for this. And even if the players stink, right? Even if the rewards stink, they are actually natural motivators in games to bring them back for more. So they get more rewards as they play. And the more they play, the more masterful they become. And lastly, people play to feel a sense of significance towards the community and self. Games fulfill this need for relatedness. Yeah, when you play games with friends online, playing games with others is actually a very rewarding bonding experience. You feel in a way closer to people you game with because you share a common goal. So it's not uncommon, right? I'm not sure how many of you have read articles on that. People who met online playing video games, they probably end up getting married. Some of them get married online in the video games itself. So there is a sense of community and sense of self. Important facts to consider. So I want to bring you all to this concept of gamefulness. Yeah. According to the definition, gamefulness describes the quality of a game from an experiential and behavioral aspect. Now, a video game success, right? If we talk about all those award-winning, high-grossing video games, yeah, a video game success can be measured, right, from various factors, either through revenue, the number of sales, the number of downloads. It can also be measured through user engagement point of view, through fun, okay, from the metrics of fun, or from a data point of view, analytics that say that these people like to play the game. However, right, all this information cannot be translated into a framework or even a recipe that can turn another game to achieve the same level of success. You can't take all this, whatever you get in this game, all the factors, and you use it into another video game and expect that same results. It's not going to happen. Okay? You cannot use all the game's design elements you use in game A and say that because I use all that, I'm going to use all these design elements in a game B in order to replicate the original game success. It doesn't work that way. The evidence for that statement I just made is the plethora of substandard and mediocre games available in the market today. I mean, there are books out there, tons of books on game design, how to make your game successful. Yeah, but yet even if you use all those mechanics, it doesn't necessarily 100% guarantee that your game is going to be successful. So there are no magic bullets to fully emulate successful video games. However, you need to understand the game design principles in order to make the right decisions. It allows actually game designers, right, to lay game design principles, allows game designers to lay a good foundation in creating engaging games. It's the same in gamification. You cannot just use the elements found in games in order to create a good gamified experience. There needs to be a lot of work done. And I call this thing gameful, yeah? Gameful design plus gameful system. So what is gameful design? Gameful design is a procedure of designing effective gamefulness using game design elements. Yeah. Basically, it's a vehicle that provides for overall positive gameful experience for users. Okay. Gameful systems is the experience. The more prevailing and evident the game design elements are, the more effective, theoretically, a game system may be in gamification. Okay? So you need to have the design, yeah, and you need to have the tools, and you need to craft the experiences in gamification. You cannot use the tools itself. Gamification is not about using all the tools you find online, but there is a thing that you need to, a conscious effort to craft the experiences as well. So I actually have this thing, yeah, I call vertical gameful system, yeah, and if you look at it, a lot of gamification models deal with the vertical gameful system, right? Leaderboard, points, badges, yeah, it's about climbing up the tier to achieve higher levels. It's what we call a tier-based system, yeah, where your learners or students climb tiers to obtain more and more points, yeah, accumulate badges, get higher score, and that's what I call the vertical gameful system. But vertical gameful system is something in game that is not really in the early stages of games, like the early arcades, Pong, Pac-Man, you have that. But now games have evolved to something what I call the horizontal gameful system. It's all about the social aspect of games. It's all about playing games with somebody, challenging them, sabotaging them, killing them off, helping them, so on and so forth. So in other words, right, when you talk about a vertical gameful system, it's very linear. There is only a linear path. But video games work best when it's non-linear. Hence, to create, and these are something that all games designers know. Games designers, when they create games, they need to have these two models at play. A vertical gameful system and a social, which is the horizontal gameful system. They combine. In gamification, you should also combine them. So there should be a balance. And the balance has that middle pathway. Yeah, I call that middle pathway basically social competitive gameful system, where there is a level of that competency to gain and that social. And once you reach, yeah, that middle ground, the level of fun increases, fun and autonomy. So don't think of gamification as points, badges, levels. Let me give you an example. I'm not sure how many of you have played games such as Unstable Unicorns, Politico, which is a very nice game, yeah, Exploding Kittens, and HR, yeah, the toxic workplace game, all right? So basically, these games all, right, allow players to not only to win, but they also have the social, because they're playing games with someone else. I can sabo someone else. I can cancel someone else's moves. I can team up with somebody to attack someone else. Games are most fun where they have meaningful choices to perform. All right? So bear that in mind. Okay, so I've got how more 5:15, 5:30, 5:30, right? All right. So how do we then gamify our gamification? How do we put in more elements of games into our gamification? So remember this question initially. What motivates people to play games? Yeah. Number one, people play because games are more consistent at rewarding them. There is a consistency. Number two, there is a diversity of choice. Their actions, can provide them better choices. Yeah, they can choose a non-linear pathway. And number three, it provides a social platform for engaging. So gamification cannot just focus at the rewards. You must consider the illusion of choice and the social aspect of it. You must address the reason why people like games and provide those elements in your gamified classroom. Remember to balance the gameful system where it's not only the vertical aspect, the rewards, but also the horizontal aspect, which is the social interaction, and increase the fun and autonomy factors so that these two sections interact. All right, just want to share something with you. I have this thing which I call the 5 C's of games design. Yeah, choice, change, challenge, comparison, and competition. All right. So I am just going to flash it through right now, together with the next slide, and I'm going to show you how I gamify my classroom using elements of social, vertical aspects as well, elements found in games such as Unstable Unicorns, Exploding Kitty as well. Right? So yeah, I got a little homework for you guys. Do check out this thing called the Octalysis, yeah, Yuka Choice Octalysis Gamework framework. It talks about how a gamification should really be, all the elements that makes gamification feel like an actual game. So do check it out. Okay. He has also a book called Actionable Gamification: Beyond Points, Badges, and Leaderboards. Okay. Yeah. So there are 8 essential desires comprising of characteristics such as accomplishment, meaning, creativity, ownership, social influence, scarcity, unpredictability, and loss. Yeah, all these elements are present in video games, and those are the things that makes video games fun. Yeah. So let me show you what I did for my class. Okay. So I did, just to show you, for those who are very statistics driven, very research driven, I did a test as well where I just had a normal class with just leaderboards, points alone. I had a class which didn't have any gamification elements whatsoever. And I had a class which I incorporated both the gameful elements, the vertical as well as the horizontal. As you can see here, there is a sort of an upward growth. Yeah, of course, the vertical gamification elements is better received than the ones without. But the highest ratio comes from the one where there is both elements inside. So this test actually shows that the social competitive gameful systems actually played a huge positive role in student engagement. Yeah, this study took about 2 years to do. So let me share with you right now. So I started with a very simple gamified system, the leaderboard. Okay, and all of you are familiar with when you talk about leaderboard. Yeah, it's about what I did was I gave them tasks. I teach an entrepreneurship class, and in the entrepreneurship class, I gave them tasks. So the first week I may say, okay, get into groups, your first task is to come up with a name, your company name. The first team that comes up with a company name gets 20 points. Second team, 15 points. Third team, 10 points. Fourth and fifth team gets 5 points. Okay. The next, I'll ask them to create a company logo. You know, so it's again the first group that fulfills the task gets a higher point. Yeah, so on and so forth. Yeah. So it's a very simple vertical system. Yeah, they are doing in-class assignment, but as they do their task well, they earn more points. I went one step further. The points that they gain, yeah, all these points that they gain also became a currency. And the currency is for them to actually go to an item shop and buy certain items. And these items allow them to, their groups, right, to not only have benefits to their assignment. So things like, you know, for your presentation, you can buy an item that gives you an additional 2 minutes. You can buy an item that doesn't allow you to wear formal during presentation. This particular item is really popular. Yeah, they all come in t-shirt and jeans after buying this item, and just to show off to their classmates. You know, just to show you a few more items. Yeah. You can actually buy items that gives you more marks. You can buy items that forces me to forget what I was asking you. So if I ask you a difficult question during presentation, you can ask that item, you can use an item to bypass that. Yeah. You can use an item to also compete with other teams. You can blind an opposing team for 8 hours and make them lose out on any announcement. You can force other teams to switch on their webcam. You can cancel an item, yeah, played by another team. Okay, so these are the basic ones, and then we went to go for a more exciting one. Yeah, you can in class you can make them speak in a very high-pitched voice during the presentation. You can have this thing, this item. I like this item. It basically allows them to work with other people, other groups, in order to buy extra marks. So these points here change accordingly to by the semester. So all these items here are basically they evolve. All right. So yeah, you can force them to record a 15-second video. You know, yeah, you can basically find out ahead of time what items are, what the tasks are. So there is a level where they are not only playing the game for their group to get higher marks, but they are also competing against other teams where they can actually kill other teams. They can nuke the items. They can cooperate. They can do things. So it becomes a real game experience. And this is the main reason why people play games. Gamification should also reflect that. Just to show you one of the items that was played against this team, yeah. So someone played this team. There is no value to this, right? They just want to do it for the sake of doing it. They call it the plastic cup effect, yeah. And they use this item to designate another team to wear plastic cups on their heads during the entire tutorial session or presentation session, yeah. So everybody is very sporting. They actually wore the plastic cup on their head. Some couldn't find a plastic cup. They actually bought an IKEA mug and they put it on the head, right? And it's just to add that level of fun, right? So you can see here, yeah, so sir, you're so mean, right? But I not only give them the opportunity to play that on other classmates, I allowed them to play that on me as well. So there is this card called the "Sir, your head is too shiny" card, and they play it basically to make me wear a hat, right? And it's everybody was trying to fight for this thing. I was, you know, so it's a fun activity. I also had this thing where I spin the wheel, and whoever's name comes out, that they have to switch on the webcam for the entire class. Yeah, and they have actually items to actually shut that down as well. All right, they can also reflect the items to someone else. So it became a very interactive session. So remember, when you plan gamification, don't just think about the elements of points and leaderboards and badges. Think about how, from a social standpoint, the students are engaged in class. Because that's what games are there for. Games are fun. Games allows you to have the choice. Games are competitive. So that's what I mean by gamifying gamification. And with that, I have reached, I think, just right enough time for question and answers. Yeah, so if you want to find out more, you want to contact me, yeah, there's my QR code there for my LinkedIn profile. You can email me or you can follow me on Instagram, but please do follow me on Instagram. I need more followers. Yeah. All right. And I'm done. Any questions right now? Anybody want to ask any questions? Sorry, it's a very. I hope I didn't talk too fast, and I hope I didn't take too much time. Yeah.
Yes, there's one question. Yes.
How old am I?
Yeah. Go to the mic. Yeah, it's turned on.
Is it? Am I naturally bald, or is this? Yeah, it's not naturally bald. I'm not old. Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Am I allowed to ask now?
Yeah, sure. By all means.
Okay. My name
items
is
and things like that. What platform or what modality do you use to do this type of marketplace thing? Or
Okay. So if I told you, yeah, you might be a bit shocked. Okay. So it's not so much about the leaderboards. I use a free software. Yeah, it's an online leaderboard software. The spinning wheel is actually online as well, but majority of everything the item shop can exist anywhere. So I use Microsoft Teams. Yeah. I put it out as one of the channels and I update it frequently. I basically I design all the items. It's all done manually. Whenever a student want to purchase something, they basically WhatsApp me. Yeah, and so it's not so much about a tool. I wanted while I'm in the midst of developing an online system, but really I wanted a way that they are engaged all that, and I can show you some of the maybe I better not show you, but I created a lot of WhatsApp groups with all those groups. I announced all the challenges there. I announced. Let me just try to get it on and show you one, but it is a lot of manual work, a lot of commitment on my part. Yeah, yeah. So that's the long and short of it. I hope I answered your question.
All right. Thank you. Do we have any more questions from the audience?
Yeah, so just let me show you this. Yeah, so this is my WhatsApp with one of the groups. Yeah, so I will basically announce all the tasks here. It's all manual. Yeah, and someone just use an item to blow up the entire shop. Yeah, so things like that. Yeah, so it's actually very manual. Why do I like it this way? Because it allows me to connect with my students very closely. Yeah, yeah. Just now there was someone who was asking a question online.
That would be me.
Yep. Hi.
Yes. Nabihan. I didn't know there was another question just now.
No worries.
Okay. Because like right now I'm actually researching with gamification. I'm concerned of like what are like the possible challenges and like when it comes to like using gamification online. Like I imagine some teachers have like issues like it might be too complex or it might not be something suitable to the students. Like as you said, some are achievement oriented and some just want to be more exploring. Like,
Yeah.
and in your perspective, what at least in Malaysia, what are the most common, like at least what most common issue that you think is when it comes to using gamification for teaching?
Okay. Well, I think one of the most common issues is the fact that a lot of people tend to think once I gamify something, and this is a concern as well with game-based learning. Yeah, people think that once I put video game elements into something, into education software, it becomes fun. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, people have preferences. Yeah, students, gamers have preferences. Not all gamers like racing car games. Not all gamers like MMORPGs. Yeah, not all gamers like first-person shooter. So you can't just take an element of gamification, like a leaderboard and everything, and expect everybody that it's gamified. Therefore, the students would enjoy doing it. Um, there is a lot of trial and error. So, like I mentioned, this has been running. Actually, it's slightly more than about 2 years. About 2 years through trial and error. Uh, the first time I ran the gamified thing, there were very few items that was very socially oriented. It was the items were very related to the class, and I realized that hey, the level of engagement isn't there. So the next semester I added more social elements and so on. So it's a very trial and error based. It's like making an actual game. For games development and games design, it's not just a one size fit all. When you have a game, you need to also do a lot of play testing. You need to see if the concept works. And if a particular aspect of the concept doesn't work, you need to remove it. So it's an iterative thing. It cannot be just, this is it. I have this model, I'm going to use it for the next 2 years. I have changed my model over the past few years, yeah, running it. I've just recently started using this gamification so this gamification model is for groups. I started using it in research methods, individual. And the irony is this, the class which I'm teaching, the entrepreneurship and using all this, are a mixture of students from mass communication, business, engineering, hospitality. When I tried to use this whole concept for individual classes, individual assignment classes, for game students, no less, I felt that the engagement level was not there. Yeah, so this semester I was like, oh, how come game students actually don't like to do this kind of thing? So later on, I found out that it has to be a bit more and a bit more engaging in that sense. Yeah, so I didn't use WhatsApp. I used Discord with them. So I need to explore if Discord was an issue, or that game students don't really like this kind of games, which are very, very card games related. Maybe if it was more electronically related. So it's a lot of learning that I have to do on that. So there's no. I hope I answered your question, Nabihan. So one of the challenges is you never know. It's the same as creating games. Like you need to do your feasibility studies. You need to find out what kind of students are there. You need to, in the middle of the semester, sometimes I also change the whole mechanism. So it's very, it's very evolving. Yeah, it's not fixed at one point. Having said that, it is a lot of work. So the passion part has to come from both parties. And you have to be passionate. Gamification is something that the instructors have to be passionate about.
So basically, it can always be the same, and it has to be based on the relationship between the students and teachers.
Yeah, yeah. If you ask me, can I use this exact model and pass it to someone who is not passionate about doing this? The answer will be then if it's not passionate, then it won't be the same.
I see.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so I hope I answered that question. Okay.
That really did. Actually, really useful.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so next question is, can gamification be used for blended learning? Why not? I mean, gamification is not new at all, you know. When we talk about gamification, right, it's been around for a very long time. It wasn't called gamification those days, but your credit card points, your loyalty card points, your Grab Pay points are a form of gamification. Yeah, it's just that even ways uses gamification some one way or another, little bit of elements. Yeah, so yes, I believe that gamification can be used for blended learning as well. It's the big question is what sort of, or how do you want to gamify your gamification? That is the big question. All right.
Okay, so is there any more questions from our live audience? No?
None? Yeah, so do follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to just ask me anytime.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Tan, for your very eye-opening session. Right. Distinguished speakers and guests, we have come to the end of the program for day 1. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for day 2 of the BERC at Sunburn University of Technology, Sarawak. Thank you for joining us today and have a great evening. For those who are driving back home, drive safe and have a pleasant journey. We will see you all tomorrow. Thank you.